Ben Shapiro destroyed Don Lemon on live television. It was a strong confrontation, and let's watch it together.
And it seems to me we clearly have, and I think that was the point of the alt-right and the white supremacists seizing on an issue that they know that there's actually broad public consensus on not moving a lot of these statues. There's a Quinnipiac poll that came out today showing that 50 to 39 Americans aren't big on the idea of moving all these statues out. So they seized on an issue that they think is a winning issue for them and then tried to broaden out their appeal that way. And I think a lot of folks on the left fell for it. They want to have this discussion anyway, and so they saw the opportunity to have this discussion. But it seems like a misdirection from what actually happened in Charlottesville. The issue in Charlottesville is white supremacy, not whether some people think that statues should come down or stay up, because clearly 50% of the American population doesn't want to keep these statues up just because they're a bunch of white supremacist racists.
Ben calmly and articulately delivered his point of view, which I can't disagree with. He explained that this whole movement is not about oppression or demonstration, but simply about the provocation of a bunch of people.
Did liberals get played by President Trump?
I think pretty clearly they definitely fell for what was, whether he plans it or not, a trap for the left. I mean, he said, you guys don't have a limiting principle. You're going to go after statues of George Washington or Christopher Columbus or Thomas Jefferson. And now you're seeing that actually happen on the left. The most obvious stupid case is this banning of this reporter from ESPN named Robert Lee, an Asian guy, from covering an event at University of Virginia. You know, the political correctness of the left is actually driving people into Trump's arms, even though Trump's initial response to Charlottesville and then his Tuesday response to Charlottesville was entirely wrong. I think that one thing that Trump has had, he's just benefited from the fact that the left is constantly reacting to everything he says with an enormous level of passion, and I think that that's actually a negative. Even what he did last night insofar as going after the media, because the media reacted, instead of doing objective analysis of where he was not telling the truth, they jumped to, extraordinary critiques of his mental health and talking about how he was crazy and how he was morally bereft and all this stuff. All that does is it plays to his crowd. His crowd thinks that the media is out to get him. His crowd thinks that the media have a particular emotional animus for him personally. And so anything that the media do is going to exacerbate that.
U.S. President Donald Trump has been accused of racism. For American politics, this is one of the most poisonous and dangerous insinuations imaginable. The lower house of the U.S. Congress has issued a formal censure to the head of state. Nothing like this has happened for more than 100 years, since the time of the 27th President of the United States, William Howard Taft. And even then, the reproach was softer. They are trying to fence him with it, and he is skillfully managing them at this moment. That's why Trump is strong in this situation.
Two things, and by the way, just because ESPN, I want to get it correct. ESPN has responded, and they're saying they didn't ban the guy's name is Robert.
Yeah, they moved
Lee.
him off of it.
They didn't ban him. They asked him if he wanted to, and he picked something that was closer to his family. They said that they didn't ban him, and they were looking out for his own interest.
They're trying to take away our culture. They're trying to take away our history, and our weak leaders. They do it overnight.
The media is simply responding to people who are there protesting and to the story of the statues being taken down. The media hasn't called for the statues to be taken down. So I don't understand when he says the media is trying to take away your culture. What is...
It's much simpler than that. The media put it in bright color. They're the ones who encourage people to do it. Nowadays, you can buy anything, and especially make a lot of people change their minds. That's what Trump is talking about.
I mean, I do think that one of the conservative critiques of the media, and this has been true for as long as I've been alive and probably before that, is that the media have an agenda, a political agenda, and they hide behind this patina of objectivity in order to press forward this political agenda. Don, you were very passionate about President Trump's statements about the media last night, and I think some of that was justified, but I think a lot of it actually goes to what his base thinks, which is they think that you have an animus particularly for President Trump, that you have an animus for his agenda on things like Confederate statues. I think you personally probably want to see these Confederate statues come down. I mean, is that true? I mean, I would assume you do.
Listen, I lived in the South for a long time, and to tell you the truth, I knew the statues were there. I was offended by the statues. Whether they should come down, I would leave it up to the individuals. But I do think that they are insulting to people, just as you would you want to see a statue of Hitler as a Jewish
No, I totally
person?
understand your point of view. The
would
point
you want
is
to go
that you have
to,
a point of
which
view,
I made
right?
earlier, would you want to go to, and listen, we shouldn't pretend that there's this fake objectivity. Everyone has a point of view. It doesn't mean that you're biased. And so, but just to get people to understand, as a Jewish person, you would not want to go to a Hitler high school. Well, that same effect, African Americans, that has the same effect. Robert E. Lee has the same effect on African Americans. And also the Confederate flag. And so I think we have to be understanding of each other. It's not that I don't like the president or have an agenda against the president. I'm simply speaking the truth as I see it.
Everyone has their own truth, and to each it is different. Of course, one must refer to logic and a sober mind. The media is really corrupt, and this is a big problem in our country. When some want the truth, others just want to remove competitors at any cost. That's what they are all about. What do you think about it? Write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to watch other shocking news on the channel.